Civil society organizations were hopeful that the President's State of the Nation address would present solutions to poverty and the housing crisis. Some are calling for substantial increases in the national minimum wage. Joining us now for reaction to that address is Mametlwe Sebei, the President of the General Industries Workers Union of South Africa, and Peter Monethe from Abahlali baseMjondolo. Gentlemen, a very good evening to both of you. Thank you so much for your time. Mametlwe, let's perhaps start with you, just giving us your thoughts on the President's first State of the Nation address under the Government of National Unity.
Yes, simply it has a long list of broken promises that they recite ritually year after year, and nothing changed. Let's understand what are the fundamental challenges facing the working class in this country. They are very simple. It's unemployment, the level of which is devastating at the moment, is a cost of living crisis, and with it, poverty and widening inequalities. Now, when you take not what you wish for, but what's realistic, you just have to understand all his promises of undermining or reducing unemployment is predicated on the projection of the growth rate of 3%, which does not tally with what Treasury is, what Treasury is saying. The Treasury has projected a growth rate of less than 2% in the next coming years. So that already tells you that 3% is more of a wishful thinking, sloganeering, that is not borne by reality. Under capitalism, employment and job opportunities is created by investment and by private investors measured through what we call a capital formation, which actually has been in decline. A capital formation is investment in equipment, machinery, factories, new mines, new farms. That is expansion of the means of production and employment opportunity thereby. It has declined from over 18% to 19% in 2030 to just somewhere, above below 15% in 2023. So not only is the capitalist class not investing adequately, the level of investment in expansion of the economy and the productive sectors of the economy has been falling. The second issue is he has announced a series of privatization, right? Privatization of water, privatization of food, of ports, and every other thing you can imagine. Now, look at the track record of this. Since privatization of energy through what we call public-private partnership in a form of independent power procurement program, electricity has skyrocketed by about 800% since 2007. Overall, it has increased by over 1,720% since 1996 in terms of tariffs. Why? Because Eskom is procuring from independent power producers 15 billion rand for the same amount of energy. It will cost it only 3 billion to generate it. So privatization is only going to escalate the cost of living crisis as profiteering supersede public services and, of course, public interest. And, of course, that contribute to levels of poverty that has reached starvation and hunger levels, as well as, of course, growing inequality, because the policy of this government, including their interest rate regime as a way of fighting inflation and erosion, that interest rate regime has actually transferred a massive amount of wealth from working class people who are losing houses, who are losing cars,
right,
and every asset they try to accumulate to bankers and other sections of the finance monopoly capital, and those privileged sections of the top levels of the middle class who own over 90% of stock and, of course, bonds in this country.
So, Mametlwe, let's just bring in Peter into this conversation. Peter, I mean, some have argued that the government has somewhat failed South Africans, especially those who are in need of housing, simply because of the focus on big and mega projects as opposed to small-scale developers who often focus on informal settlements as well as inner-city housing. But the President did say in his speech that they will be clearing the backlog of title deeds for subsidized housing, turning homes into housing assets. Now, did you think that he made any commitments or announcements relating to housing that you found particularly promising?
Yeah, let me start by greeting the viewers of Newsroom. I think, and anyway, clarify, I'm not from Abahlali baseMjondolo, but Abahlali base Freedom Park. So, yeah, it's just another promising tactics, which, I mean, the government of ANC particularly doesn't even listen to the people themselves, the voters, because earlier on, you played the interview where you are interviewing the community members, ordinary community members who can now see, who are dissatisfied by the president's speech. As Comrade Sebei already said it, that it's every year we have this SONA where there will be this kind of promises. However, they don't take us anywhere because, I mean, the issue of title deeds itself, we still have a serious problems around the issue of title deeds, where people are given the RDPs. However, those RDPs, there is a lot of criminal activities that are happening from the officials of the government, not just officials of the government, but the officials who are from the ruling party, who are selling the houses. I can tell you, as we speak right now, Abahlali base Freedom Park, we have a serious cases where there is around maybe 500 people, and I think others, they haven't come out as yet, where they have title deeds in their hands. However, they don't stay in those houses that they own the title deeds. So it's just another way of, lip service, but however, there is no delivery. The backlog of housing in Gauteng alone, not in South Africa, but in Gauteng alone, is just too much. It's overwhelming. However, the president is going to talk about the fast-tracking the title deeds. Title deeds for who? Because people are in crisis at the moment. If you go to housing there, human settlement, to register for RDP houses, you'll forever wait. I mean, there is people who are waiting since 1996. So, however, to talk about the title deeds, it doesn't mean anything because we have heard that every year. However, we don't see any action that is happening on the ground.
Right. I mean, Mametlwe, Peter speaks about the insert that played earlier on, and with some of those people in Soweto saying that, I mean, it's the same of what we are hearing every year. And in fact, government is doing absolutely nothing towards unemployment. And the one lady suggested that they should take away the 350 grant and rather use that in creating jobs. Do you believe government has not created a conducive enough environment for the private sector rather, to be able to flourish and be able to assist in creating some of those jobs?
Not that I'm a believer, I mean, in a private ownership of the economy that continue to be monopolized by big corporations that are plundering the wealth of this country, super exploiting working class and impoverishing too many. But let's understand why there is no investment, right? The reason for lack of investment is very simple. It's about a rate of profitability from the point of view of capitalist class. They invest not to provide services and goods for I and you. They invest to make profit. And when you look at, the problem, there is lack of profitability, is a crisis also of productivity. And people think, if you listen to people like DAs, think that working the working class people to death is a way actually of raising that productivity and of course profitability for the capitalist class. Reality is that a lot of it has to do with the public infrastructure. The fact of the matter is that when you look at the amount of time that people spend on the roads, the fact that the railway systems are not working, the fact that the water, the electricity, supplies are breaking down everywhere. Our roads have potholes and so on and so on. But also just lack of access to technology, including basic things like internet. In this day and age, AI, artificial intelligence, that has immensely improved productivity and efficiency in many workplaces across the world. It's not accessible to many working class people and to many people in working class areas and so on. But also, that's also about opportunities for means of livelihood for working class people. And when you look at what's happening, right? Lack of electricity means small, including subsistence farmers in rural areas, be able to do anything in opportunities where there's land for them to be able to grow certain things because of lack of electricity, lack of water supply, and evidence shows that when government delivers services, prospects of people taking initiatives, particularly in small and medium enterprises, that increases because the cost has been cut down.
Right. Mametlwe, we are running out of time. I just want to get, apologies for coming in there. I want to just get the final thoughts of Peter because we have run out of time. Peter, with regards to what you've heard and the experiences of Abahlali Base Freedom Park, do you have any hope that housing would be fixed or we'd near any dreams of having sufficient housing for South Africans in the near future?
Yeah, at the moment, Freedom Park or Gauteng South, we have fought for. There is a development that is called a mega housing development where they promised to build 48,000 houses, RDP houses for our people. However, we are still saying 48,000 is not enough, I mean, for Soweto people, basically. So we are still in negotiation and we will still continue with the struggle of demanding more houses because 48,000, we know that there will be those experiences, that the past experiences that we had, it won't help or assist because right now our families are sitting like you have 4 generations in one house, you know, a grandmother, a mother, and great children. So I don't think it will really assist. However, we hope that the power lies with the people on the ground, not the politicians who have been promising. And then we really need, as Abahlali Base Freedom Park, we are saying we need a real alternative that will be, you know, will give people that hope and implement things on the ground, not just lip servicing.
Thank you very much, Peter and Mametlwe. Thank you for your time, gentlemen, and giving us your civil society organization's reactions to that State of the Nation address that happened last night.